started. Steve, did you get my link? I sent one to you. Laser said that you guys didn't have it, so I went in my email and sent it, but Laser is saying he still didn't get it. Did you come in based? Oh. All right, let me try it to send it again. Let's see. All right, let me see.
Ms. Bears, I think Ms. Dana Curtin's trying to get in.
It just says 8, 1, 2, 3.
It might be her, right? Well, I'll tell her because she said she had to change her name. I think her computer has a different name.
Steve, Lori, Liz, Kiana, David, Antoinette, Tracy. That's all I see.
Okay. I'll just tell her to try again.
Okay. So I want to start on time. Is it Steve? Can you live stream or? Oh, Leonardo.
Okay, Leonardo.
Oh, that must be Chris because that's her son's name. Okay, great. So I wanted to start the meeting on time. Good evening, everyone. This is the first Community Engagement Committee and Communications meeting for the 2020-2021 school year. And I myself am Tracy Mares, Vice President of the Greenburgh CSD School Board. And I have 2 more school board members on with me, and I would love for them to introduce themselves.
I'm David Warner.
I'm Antoinette Darden Cintron.
Okay, and Antoinette is the current president of the school board, and we 3 of the Board of Education members that have volunteered to be on this committee. And the first item on our agenda for this evening is establishing non-Board of Ed committee members. And the reason why I have that there is because we recently had a conversation about the fact that some committees are, and excuse me because I'm going to be letting people in while I'm talking, but oh, you did. Thank you, Antoinette. Some committees are solely committees run by the board and administration, in that the community members do not vote on any ideas for recommendations to the board. They don't make any decisions. They don't make any motions. And the way that this committee has run for many years, even before I was on the board, when I was a member, is that we have active community members that make motions, that bring up ideas and topics for recommendation to the board. So the first item on the agenda is to question whether or not we want to continue to do that, or do we want to make this a committee more where just the board members make recommendations to the larger board? I myself would prefer to have it the way that we've always had it, but I think we need to kind of officially make that determination, and we can only do that with feedback from the rest of the committee. So what do you guys think? You guys are so
have we been sworn in as the committee? Is that what's happening? So,
so
we are the committee.
What would happen is if anybody wants to change or not have it operate the way that it used to, we would talk about it. But if everyone's okay with the way that we have always had it, with, you know, the public coming in and being able to make motions and suggestions, and we can leave it that way. Then what we need to do is establish who's actually volunteering to be on the committee. So
well, I'm volunteering to be on the committee, and I think having the public to be a part of it is great.
Okay, maybe I should ask, is there anyone that doesn't want the public to be, voting members of the committee, that can make motions, that can make decisions?
Yeah, pretty much the difference is how many board committees have worked is the public comes as observers to that. And I believe, David, this committee has been operating the opposite way. We just need to be able to officially say when we go back, this is how this is operating.
What I've done in the previous years is I basically fed things to the superintendent and reported back to the board on whatever came our way. And then a lot of what we got were questions, and there were a few recommendations. And as long as they got communicated, we felt like we were doing our job. and usually there was some sort of response. And I'm not the consumer primarily, so it's you guys need to tell me, is that the way things should continue to operate, or do we want to make more formal recommendations and do it the other way that was just described?
Everyone's silent. Oh, I see Samantha.
I'm curious what you have in mind, how you visualize if, for instance, the group of everybody on this call says, yes, we're going to swear ourselves in and we're going forward with this. I'm curious what you have in mind as far as formality for, are you going to need a quorum? Are we going to have regular meetings? How formal are you looking to formalize?
Great question. And I see Chris Valentine. I don't know if she might answer your question, but.
No, I want to piggyback on what Samantha says. I think part of it boils down to what are the charges? I mean, if the charges are going to be slightly different than in the past, then maybe it needs to become more formal. I think that's really the key before we answer this question.
Yeah, that's a good question. The charges, Tracy.
Yeah, that's on my agenda. We're gonna get to that. The reason why I didn't put the charges first is because if we're gonna open this committee or keep the committee open, because the way it's been running is like a committee that has the community as members, then the community will be involved in creating the charges and solidifying what the charges of mission will be. David, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in my past years of attending CEC meetings, but this is now CEC and communications. In the past with attending CEC meetings, there was not a need for a quorum. You know, if we had 5 people at the meeting or 30, we would still make a, motion vote. This is not a policy setting committee nor a decision making committee as far as what happens with the board. This is simply making recommendations to the board for either something that they should look at or a procedure or policy that the committee thinks should be in effect. So it's I think the rules with regards to like quorum can be a little flexible, but I don't know if David, you feel differently or if anyone feels strongly that we need to follow having a specific quorum in attendance. Okay, so do we want to find out?
I'm not looking for a quorum.
Yeah, I'm not looking for a quorum either.
I'm not looking for a quorum either.
So who is interested in being on the committee? If you could just put your name, I'm going to open the chat. If you can put your name officially in the chat and then we'll record it down. And why that's important is because we will make sure to, send you the meeting notes, meeting minutes, the agenda, continue our communications with you more frequently than like with the larger public as a whole. So we would need to know who you are, maybe your email address. I'm sorry, I didn't say that quick enough.
Tracy, can you share about the notes?
Sure, share what, the last meeting notes you mean?
No, not the meeting notes. What were we told about the notes too? It was something, or not, maybe not notes, but minutes or something, because that came up as well in our, I can't remember it, but that came up as well in our discussions about committee, how it was comprised and everything, and whether it's notes or no notes.
Well, by history, right, David? David had pretty detailed notes with his committee every single meeting. So I would assume we would do notes. Were you not wanting to do notes, Antoinette?
No. I'm either. I don't have a deep opinion here or there. I just remember a conversation that mentioned notes, but I couldn't remember the specifics about it. But that's fine. Carry on.
Okay, awesome. So everyone's putting their name in the chat, and just for if anyone's viewing, through the live feed, if you later decide you want to join the committee, you can definitely email any one of the 3 of us, Tracy, David, Antoinette, and we will add your name as an interested committee member. Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on. We wanted to try to set meeting dates. So in the past, we met every single month. I don't know if everyone still wants to do that, how people's calendars are with regard to COVID, if they have the time to do it anymore. the committee may or may not change a little bit. How does everyone feel about meeting dates and times? No one has any feedback. Okay, so I will go with what we've done in the past, which is every single month. So
Okay, I'll give feedback then.
Okay, good.
Because I didn't want to give feedback because I didn't want, but if no one's gonna say something, then I'm gonna say my preference is every other, only because I feel like and many of you who, especially if you're still working or volunteering in some other way, I'm in front of a screen every day with work, and then it feels like almost on a weekly basis I am doing on some sort of screen and a meeting at night too. So I would prefer less meetings if I had a choice.
I wasn't raising my hand. I second that.
Okay, so less meetings as in every other month. Is that kind of your preference? I see someone else nodding. Are people kind of okay with that, or? Yeah, so okay.
Yeah.
And so
one for the team, yes.
So one of the things then we need to look at is it's now November. Are we talking about January, March, and May?
Yeah.
You guys are the most agreeable bunch I think I've ever worked with. That's awesome. So if everybody's okay with that, if everyone's okay with that, then we will definitely shoot for that. So let's look at the calendar. And of course, I did not bring my calendar. Does anyone else have their, the problem with the printed district calendar is everything is changing now with COVID. But if anyone has their district calendar in front of them, if they can just glance at January, and I'm going to run to my kitchen to get mine, and see if there's any dates where there's not, like for me with planning this meeting, so I need to apologize in advance. People were waiting and waiting for this committee meeting, but there were so many things going on and so many things jam-packed, additional dates now that there's COVID and everyone can meet virtually. There was like no availability. And even at the end of this week, someone had proposed the 12th, but we have, parent teacher conferences. So there were so many different things. Can anyone look through January while I run?
I got January. So what I see is the week from the 3rd to the 9th. Of course, is a board meeting on the 5th. I'm assuming we're not doing early dismissal on the 6th. And then there's ECP information night. Then the following week, I see there's a RJ Bailey Parent University on Wednesday the 13th. Highview orientation on the 14th. And then there's a whole bunch of different things.
Mondays are cleaner than a lot of days. Do you like Mondays?
Mondays are cleaner, I will say, at least in January, other than MLK. And there's a Mandarin Heritage Week and a scholarship fund. But as far as January, Mondays is the best in January.
You want the 4th or the 11th?
Maybe the 11th.
Okay.
The kids will be returning on the 4th. That might be like the first day back for parents.
Yeah, 4th is too soon.
Yeah.
That's too soon.
Okay. Are we good with 7 p.m.?
I like 7 because I'm finishing lunch 6:30. Sometimes is a little early. Finishing dinner.
Even 7:30 is good too, just in case. Right?
Is 7:30?
Yeah, 7:30 or 7?
With the kids and lunch and dinner and just, I don't know. That's for me. Other people can sleep.
We'll see if you have the same opinion by the time we get to the end of this meeting. If you do, we stick with 7:30.
Okay.
So that would be, we would commit for like 7:30 to 9. Is that okay to people? Like, speak up if it's too late or you think it's too early.
7:30 to 8:30.
Yeah, 7:30 to 8:30.
1 hour? We usually go
let's see.
David's making a face.
All right,
Well,
I'll
if
be
we
quiet.
could go, if we could hit the agenda
I'll be
point,
quiet. 7:30 is a
Keep
fine.
going. That doesn't happen. Okay.
That doesn't really happen. I mean, usually doesn't happen, but it, you know, it's COVID. We're not actually physically in the school, so.
Okay, March.
March.
What are we good? Are we
Oh,
good?
yes, March. I'm sorry. Yes,
Right,
I'm
we're
with you.
doing every second month.
So March, March is March is pretty decent too.
Well,
the only thing I would say is there's, no, I still think it's pretty decent. Some of the things that I see on here might be daytime things if they're happening.
How about March 1st?
I think March 1st is good. That's the only thing is, nothing's there.
Okay.
Okay.
And then May.
May.
Sorry, did you want to throw one in April so it's before the budget? I know you want to go every other month, but will there be specific budget meetings, or do you just want to plug in a date that could be used for budget discussion?
Unless you want to use the finance and facilities committee to do that.
I meant for community outreach
To
about
update the public.
Okay.
I think that's a good point.
Just food for thought.
So you want April?
So do we want to plan the May date and then go back and possibly do one in April as well, just specifically for budget information from CEC as well?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, so with May, keeping in line with Mondays, it looks like May's pretty packed with like performances, but I don't know whether or not, let's see, you have the orientation for parents. I don't know whether or not we'll be in school.
The 17th.
May is nasty.
And the
There's a
night
lot of
before the
stuff.
school budget vote?
Yep, the 17th or the 24th, which is after.
Do we want to do it after? Maybe, especially if we do.
My question is, when is the search firm planning to present the final candidate?
We'll get to that at the end, Amy. We're just working on calendar dates. I understand your question because you're saying whether or not it coincides with our meeting.
Because
So
I think that's going to be important.
It is important, but the CEC won't be presenting a candidate either. And so if we have a date that is already booked for CEC meeting, that won't conflict with the superintendent search. So I think it's just kind of not really apples and oranges, but like apples and I don't know.
No, but this is community engagement to let us know what's happening. I
It
guess
is.
that's how I look at it.
I agree, but the search firm is also going to do its own set of community engagement, so it's going to be parallel. This is community engagement for everything, not just superintendent search. So we need a date in May. I like the 24th, especially if we have something in April specifically budget related, but I don't know what everyone else feels.
What is the availability for April 26th? Because the one in March is right at the beginning of the month. So end of April is still like a 2-month break, but then it also gets us in before the budget. Is that crazy, or is it, I don't even have the district calendar. I don't even know when spring break is.
No, I know, I'm
26 is
sorry.
blank.
I don't know if you can see.
Okay.
But it's blank. It's a great date. If you
Right.
chose that
Okay.
silent, so what are the lotto numbers? Million, Mega Millions or whatever. So that was a great guess.
I agree with the 26th.
Okay. And we're back to May. What do you guys feel before or after budget vote?
Well, since you did one in April, I think May 24th is okay.
24th.
Okay. So we have those
Okay,
down.
so we have January 11th, March 1st, April 26th, and May 24th.
April 26th and I'm sorry, May 24th, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Okay. So now we're going to look at, I believe it's the mission and charges. Yes. So the CEC committee itself this year is combined with our communications committee. So we have two separate committees that are joining into one. The CEC committee has gone through a myriad of changes over the years. Our board historian, David Warner, actually sent us a list of charges. I don't know, it was like 2009. He had such a detailed list. Normally in our CEC meetings in person, we would have the documents for everyone to look at and be able to kind of edit and switch around if we'd like to. What I want to do is share my screen with you. I hope you guys can still see me because I left the meeting. But what I want to do is share my screen with you, and I want to pull up the most recent charges that we had from 2000 and nope, that's the old one, from 2009, excuse me, 19-20 school year. For the CEC and the communications. Here it is. So now I got to figure out how to share my screen so you guys can see that. Share screen. Aha. Share. Can you guys see my screen now?
It's coming.
Let me know. Is it there?
It's just blank white.
It's just blank white. That sucks. All righty. Don't know what to do with that situation. Let me see. Okay, let's try again. One participant can share at a time, multiple participants share. Yeah. Let me try the one participant share. All right, let me try this screen and see what happens. Haha, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so for the 19-20 school year, these were the communication committee meeting, oh shoot, I'm going to in and out, charges, as well as the community engagement committee, which is right underneath it. And so there's a lot of things kind of put there. In an effort to have this meeting this year, Antoinette, David, and I did have a conversation to kind of try to plan and put some of the charges together along with the mission. So I'm hoping that everyone has a chance to actually look through these now. And next, I'm going to show the screen where it has detailed what we've already kind of combined together. And then I want to hear from people if you like what we have now, if you want to add something different, if you have something that we didn't even have on there that you think that we should include, okay? So I'm going to give this another minute and then I'm going to stop share. And I hope that works. And as you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Between the two committees, there were 8 charges. And these are charges also that the superintendent, who is the administrative liaison, is involved in creating these charges. David, did you ever, I'm going to stop sharing now, did you ever get to speak to Dr. Chase about the charges we had come up with in that planning meeting?
She actually commented on them in a Friday packet. She said, I have no additions for the CEC. I do have additions for another committee. So she was satisfied with what we had. But if this committee wants to maybe add some more stuff from the communications committee side, or do anything they want to it, then we can feed it back to her, and she makes the actual recommendation to the board.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. And I'm wondering how to open this. I think I got it. All right. I'm just going to share this screen. How do I make this larger? Oh, come on. All right. And I'm going to share this screen with you all. Let me know if you can see this now. This is what we came up with, which has the mission of the GCSD Community Engagement and Communications Committee shall engage the GCSD community by serving as a liaison between the Board of Education and all members of the community, and by delivering clear, concise, and timely information through a variety of communication platforms. That would be the mission. And then the charges are, instead of 8, we kind of have 4, and one of them has several bullets underneath. To make recommendations for district-wide communications policies with procedures. To make recommendations for ways to increase or create partnerships and communications with PTAs, local businesses, organizations, civic associations, and municipalities. To make recommendations for a plan to implement a community-wide survey by thought exchange to gather information regarding our district to include, but not limited to, our students' COVID-19 educational experience and including its effectiveness, the effectiveness of our current communication efforts, student, faculty, and staff needs of the district. And then the last charge, to make recommendations to continue to build community trust and to strengthen perception of our school district. So I'll leave that up for a minute, just so everybody can kind of look at that. And I would love to hear back, hear from people. I can only see 4 people right now. So if you want to chime in or you want to say something, just speak, because I can't see everyone.
On that second bullet in the charges where it says local business organizations, delete the comma.
The second bullet in the charges. Okay. Local business says.
Right there. Yeah, get rid of that comma.
After the business. Okay.
Good.
Okay. Local business organizations. Okay. Got it. Is there anything else anyone? I mean, Antoinette, David, and I have seen these before,
You still have to add the ES.
Local businesses. If I add the ES, then I have to put a comma again.
Oh, business organizations. I'm sorry. I got
I
you.
don't know. Tell me what you want.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Does anyone else have any feedback? Any of the parents, community members?
Tracy.
Yes.
When I'm looking at this, it should speak to, because now we're also in a new normal, so our hybrid model. I'm not sure what Greenburgh Central School District's calling the model, but you said our students' COVID-19 educational experience.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Is it hybrid? What are we calling it? So I think we need to speak to what our school district looks like. So, and you said student, faculty, and staff needs of the district. Is that under the COVID-19 or is that just in general?
That's in general.
So if it's general, who are we as a district now? What are we calling it? Hybrid model? Because this is for 2020, 2021.
It's for this school year, yeah.
Right. So now we need to speak to this school year and the
hybrid
model
model?
that the school has chosen.
So student, faculty, and staff needs of the district under the hybrid model?
Right. Or just say something there where hybrid model should be there. Make recommendations for district-wide communication policy, or, recommendations for a hybrid model district-wide, because it's a hybrid model this year. It's not the same as last year. So some of the language needs to change.
Do we need to say during virtual learning or?
All right. That's what I said. I guess you could.
Well, if you say under the hybrid model, you've covered both.
Right.
So,
remote and right.
So I
You
don't
say
want
blended or in person, remote, blended, remote, hybrid. That's what I'm saying. Just what's the terminology that we need to use?
Right.
So my question is, and David, Tracy, I don't remember that these bullet points only referred to COVID or I mean, unless that's what we're saying. I don't remember that all of the bullet points spoke to just I guess COVID or hybrid.
This is under the thought exchange survey, right?
Yeah.
So if we're doing a thought exchange survey, is it, I mean, are the questions in the survey going to be about that, or is some of them going to be not about that?
Some of them are not going to be about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to piggyback.
Okay, so let's just move under the hybrid model up to the first bullet. Our students' COVID-19 educational experience, including effectiveness under the hybrid model. There. Now it's in one bullet, but not in all of them.
What were you going to say, Chris?
I was going to suggest what David just said, or if you wanted to generalize this to roll over to multiple years, you could say our students' educational experience, whether it's during COVID, after COVID,
Right,
hybrid,
right.
remote,
Right,
just-
take out the COVID-19. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
Educational
then-
experience. Uh-huh.
Nope, go ahead.
under and its effectiveness, period. 'Cause
Including
then
effectiveness.
that's the umbrella that covers everything.
Regardless of.
So did we just call this
Regardless of the year.
COVID-19?
Right, you want to take out COVID-19 because that's speaking specifically to this school year. And what
Right.
Chris is saying is if you wanted to just kind of roll over, you might do some tweaks, but at least it could be more general that you can use it again in 2021, 2022.
Okay.
Right.
I can understand if you're looking for like a measurable goal for this particular year that you want to be super specific, but
Mhm.
if you have the bigger umbrella, you could still fall under that.
Okay.
I'd
Okay.
like to add one more thing in the mission. I feel like it's all about delivering communication. I somehow want to put verbiage in there to also receive information so that there's, you're getting information from the public as well as delivering. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I don't have the solution yet, but I just want to throw that out there.
Okay, so we're going to say service liaison by delivering clear, concise, and timely information through a variety of community platforms. What is this doing? And communicate community needs, interests, desires back to the Board of Education and Administration. How do we want to word that?
Providing a forum for hearing community feedback. I don't know. I don't like what I just said, but that's the lines. I'm
Okay.
thinking of.
Anyone that's good at putting stuff together and what we want to say?
So you're saying the as liaison thing does not cover it?
It does. But then you go on to say delivering information, which you do need to do. And I need a few more minutes to think about this.
Form for receiving, why can't I spell today? Okay, receiving community input, feedback, experience. Anyone? No one has any suggestion on how to kind of word this second piece of receiving the information, the communication back?
About engagement. Is that too broad?
Writing a form for receiving community
I like
engagement. I thought I heard David say something.
I like
No.
feedback better than I like engagement.
Me
Okay,
too,
we're back
actually.
to feedback. Why didn't that work? Okay. Input. Do you guys like input?
Input is good.
Participation, input.
I don't want to receive participation. I want to receive input.
Okay.
Input is good.
So can we put like, instead of like, keep most of that, right? Community by delivering clear, concise, and timely information through a variety of two-way communication, meaning it's going in and coming out.
Yeah, that right.
Something that just like that two-way says it's not just the community, the committee going out, but it is also receiving.
Okay, so that sounds good. So the GCSD Community Engagement and Communications Committee shall engage the community by serving as a liaison between the Board of Ed and all members of the community by delivering clear, concise, and timely information through a variety of two-way communication platforms. Do we leave that, or do we continue in providing a forum
I
for?
would take that part out. I think the two-way itself says whatever we're doing, it's going to be going from the committee and into the committee. So it's speaking to dual communication in and out of the committee.
Okay. Does that sound, does that kind of cover what you were thinking, Chris?
Yep.
Would
that
you
does
like it more explicitly?
No, that covers it, and it's more
Yeah,
concise.
and makes it shorter.
Right?
Okay. Sounds good. So committee members, I think there were like 12 people that signed up. David, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. I got 10.
Okay. I don't think I can get back to the chat room. Oh, yes, I can. Hold on. All right. You have 10. So you have Samantha Ives, Kiana Washington, Chris Vallon, Pat Weems, Liz Anastasi, Kelly Ross, Beerly Woodward, Dana Curtin, Sarah Lazari. Oh, I think more people. Okay. And what about Amy Wang? Do you want to be on the committee, Amy?
Was that a yes?
Privately.
Yes. Sorry,
Okay,
reading something.
great. Okay. So where did I? Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna ask if the committee is happy with our mission and charges so we can move forward.
Onward.
Okay, so and all those in favor? No one does.
Aye. Adopting.
Okay, any objections? No?
We didn't make a
Okay.
motion.
You have to make a
Yeah,
motion.
so
You have to
someone
say
make a
all in
motion.
favor of
We're gonna
what?
do aye and nay.
Can I get a motion to adopt these
Two.
mission and charges?
I motion.
Yes.
I move. That's what you have to say. I move to adopt. Go ahead. Who's saying
Second.
it?
Somebody was talking.
No.
Go ahead, Mr. Warner.
I second the motion.
Okay, so that's it. Go ahead, Tracy.
Okay, awesome. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
Oh wait, I have to put my hand up.
No one's opposing? Okay, wonderful. So we'll adopt these mission and charges, and then we'll send to Ivy to put on the district website for this year's 2020-2021 mission and charges. Excellent. Okay.
The
so
superintendent will review them and put them on the agenda for the board.
Yes, you're right. You're right. So we'll send it to Dr. Chase to make sure she's okay with what we have. Although it's not that different from what we had before, so I'm sure she'll be fine. And then it will go to Ivy for posting. What's next? Review minutes from last CEC meeting of the 1920 school year. And I'm just going to pull that up on my email because David did send that to me as well. And the date, I believe, was in February, right, David?
Yes.
I'm just typing to fill that up. So that
February 10th.
Okay, thank you. So we can review those notes. Old CEC documents. I think, can you let Sherman read in? Antoinette? All right, I'm going to share my screen again, and the notes are up so that everyone can get a glance at those. Again, normally in person, we would have copies for everyone. Now that we have a committee that has volunteered to serve, we will email them to you ahead of the January meeting so that you can review them ahead of time. Okay, so does anyone want to read the notes and not leave it to me to have to do, or can I get a volunteer? Nope, of course not. All right. So you see the attendees here. Start time was 7:15.
Tracy, I'll read it if you're tired of talking.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm getting distracted, so it will be good. Just from where you were saying the bullet points, the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
All right. So It looks like we introduced ourselves to adopted David Warner's meeting notes as the minutes of the 11/13/19 CEC meeting. Mona moved, Jeff second. Reviewed, number 3, reviewed David Warner's meeting notes of the combined CEC and Education Committee held on 1/13/2020, a list of Todd Mensch, list of community member questions and topics in a PowerPoint presentation from presenters Ron Valente, Catherine Adore, Todd Mensch, and Brendan Gallivan will be added to the meeting notes prior to their posting. Or review the BOE 2019-2020 Board of Education goals slated for adoption at the February 11, 2020 BOE meeting, highlighting proposed changes from last year's goals. See Board BOE goals on the district website for a list of the goals adopted by the board. 5, there was summarize the 2020 to the 2021 district budget process per BOE February 7th work session report. Draft 1 increases the budget from 70.7 million to 73.5 million, but promises tax levy will be under the tax cap. Draft 1 budget to be posted after 2020 fiscal planning meeting. Draft 2 and 3 to follow with budget meetings and online presentations. BOE budget hearing on May 5th, 2020. Budget vote on May 19th. Note for updated information on the budget and budget vote. See Budget 2020-21 budget information and board voter information on the district website. Number 6, we reviewed the Nettie Jackson Extra Mile Award process. Talked about who Nettie Jackson was. The nominations are submitted by community and judged by a panel consisting of a board member, the superintendent, and 3 community members. The award is presented at the June BOE 6/16/2020. Nomination forms and rules are posted on the district website under Board Nettie Jackson Extra Mile Award. Mona Freitag, Jeff Barnes, Seven Hoger. Please, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Volunteered.
Sven Hoger.
Ben Hoger volunteered. Thank you. To serve as judges for the award. David Warner agreed to recruit a it disappeared. Okay, scroll down. Scroll down a little bit more. A BOE member. As a judge note, BOE trustee Ashley later volunteered, reviewed an update of the GCSD facilities issues on 1/21/20 board, hired the BBS architects. BBS is working to provide updated repair estimates for the mansion envelope, short-term solutions for potential ECP K1 classroom space issues, post-evacuation design and cost estimates for Woodlands, and updated buildings condition survey, including repairing building envelopes and district-wide and energy performance contracts, self-funded. Woodlands vestibule design, state smart estimates for long-term projects such as ECP wing at Leah Jackson. The caretaker's house, aka Morton House or Pace House, is vacant in disrepair and constitutes a safety hazards. Estimated restoration cost is greater than equal to $150,000. The facilities committee has recommended its demolition, and BOE will vote on this on February 11, 2020. Reviewed our
I'm so sorry. That's my fault because I keep moving and then it keeps yeah. Sorry.
All right. Reviewed our continuing efforts to acquire fair share of New York State facilities aid. Tracy Smith spoke on this topic. Building aid inequity, GCSD versus other districts. As you can see, there's this chart with different school districts, 3-year average of their free and reduced lunch building aid. On 11/12/2019, 11/12, it looks like that's 2019, the Government Relations Committee members traveled to Albany to visit with Todd Schumerman, Secretary of the New York State Finance Committee, Mike Swanson, Director of Educational Finance Committee. There were options presented: reform state aid, modified state aid for districts similar to GCSD, one-time grant fund, unique GCD features. Example, the historic Warburg Mansion. Mary O'Neill and Mike Swanson agreed to pursue option 2. Mary indicates she provided a spreadsheet of the district with similar demographics about 12/15/2019, possible changes for New York State omnibus budget bill to be passed April 1st. And the board may pursue other options, including hiring a lobbyist. We reviewed a list of upcoming GCSD events. Tracy, that's all I can see. All right. Okay, there's a whole variety of events, from History's Alive presentation to winter recess to the safety committee meeting and caffeine at the Education and Personnel Committee meeting at Woodlands at 8:30. And we reviewed changes for the CEC web topic based primarily on revised community charges adopted by the
Jocelyn, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry.
adopted by the BOE on December.
But to be honest, I never read these things word for word verbatim at any time. I hand them to people, and I give them little updates on what's happened. Okay, keep going.
All right, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, flash down. I feel like I was trying to go through it quickly. Okay, so let me see. As you can see, some more highlights. Mandarin Week was there. RJ Bailey chorus sings. Discuss community questions and concerns. CC emails not getting to all recipients.
Yeah, I definitely think you should read through the concerns, because that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's important.
So CC meetings not getting to all recipients, switching to the distribution list to Gmail may solve the problem. Greenburgh Council of Civic Association has reactivated their website, and link is in there. We may be able to use them to contact them, keep them updated of the association. Town of Greenburgh is also updating their civic association list, so that could be another potential source for that.
And I should tell you that I did get an updated version from the town, so we can pick and choose the civic associations we care about from that list.
No.
No, that sounds weird.
I don't think we should do that. I think we should.
There are 10 school districts in the town of Greenburgh.
Oh, okay.
So
Sorry.
only
Thank
the
you for
ones that are within our
clarifying.
geographic.
You mean the ones within ours? Okay.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Someone suggested include direct mail in stakeholders engagement. Sorry, that's my son's ringtone. Let's see. Suggestions that we use the STAR test currently used in ALP admissions to measure student performance in mathematics. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
If
So
hearing that ding, that's my son's Dexcom thing ringing, telling he needs to change. Okay, anyway, let me see. The suggestion that we use
the STAR test. David, do you know what that meant? Because I don't know, I'm getting confused reading that, but that we use the STAR test to measure student performance in mathematics for the future.
Right, as opposed to the New York State test. Right, because if they don't have the New York State test, then how are you going to know how well you're doing in math? What test do we use? I mean, we have internal testing we now use with iReady, right? But what if we use that STAR testing that we use for the ALP program anyway? It's much shorter, and look at that. So that was a suggestion for what we should do for our goals.
Thank you for
An
clarifying.
alternative measurement piece, and then we came back and adopted our goals for this year, and
So-
we're going with the state tests until they cancel them.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. So was it your understanding from then, and I was at this meeting, but I don't remember this particular issue, but was it your understanding that we would have that replace iReady testing? Would that be the
possibility.
recommendation?
It was a suggestion that was made. So then it goes in the hopper, and if we decide we want some local measurement instead of the New York State test, then that was something we could about using.
Okay, did you present these to Dr. Chase already, or we're gonna do that?
I did present them to Dr. Chase. I took the whole bulleted list and forwarded it to her. And
Okay,
then what ended up happening is we decided we would go with the New York State tests for our goals until they cancel them. And so far, I think one set of regents has been canceled, but not all of them.
Right.
So we're not sure yet whether or not there'll be a state test.
Right.
So right now, our goals say New York State. Right.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying, David. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Antoinette.
A request that we schedule professional development for social and emotional learnings initiatives to minimize the time regular teachers are out of class, especially near the beginning of the school year. Concern regarding delays in starting the mansion repair. Complaints about the cost relocating central office employees from the mansion to Woodlands. Concerned that crowding in Woodlands caused by mansion evacuation negatively impacts students. Questions as to whether it is cheaper to build new buildings than to fix existing buildings. Demographics, some grade level enrollment is down while there are potential waiting lists for the early childhood program. White Plains had an enrollment dip, but fortunately didn't sell buildings before enrollment increased again. A question as to whether we should add modulars to Lee F. Jackson to accommodate additional ECP students. Tours for building transition grades 1, 3, 6 need to happen earlier in the year before parents decide on where to send their children. Also work to increase attendance at the tours. Praise for Highview's fabulous week of welcome for Lee F. Jackson students. Suggestions that BOE send representatives to Greenburgh Town Board meetings and Public Safety Committee meetings. Are we teaching our students about climate change? Are we recycling containers and donating leftover food scraps from the schools? A complaint that the school calendar has too many holidays or shortened school days. And lastly, a request that the district publicize the U.S. Census and encourage parents to complete the forms. The meeting adjourned at 9:32 p.m.
So was it Ms. Washington that was saying an hour? Now, just so you know, that meeting ran from 7:15 to 9:32? 7:15 to 9. So that was a 2-hour meeting. And that's like the usual for CEC.
That's true, but I think that I don't know what the charges were for the CEC, but that's what I would ask. What were the charges, and was the work that was being done and discussed grounded on the charges? So the charges kind of like should be guiding the work that we're committing to, and that should help kind of keep us focused on, during the meeting.
Okay, so we're gonna still try to shoot for 7:30 to 9 and just try to keep it
7:30 to 9, 7:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
That's an ambition.
It depends on how much material is good communication. 2 way.
Yeah, I do feel like in this current environment, much of our outreach is kind of hampered. It's not like we can attend other people's civic association meetings. It's not like we can hold the meetings. I know David was awesome. We used to visit every school. I thought that was great. I know we've had meetings in was it town hall? One time you had a CEC meeting, David. So the
library, different places.
So
we were trying for the fire station, but we never made it.
Which was great. I mean, that we used to have cottage meetings, right? And someone would open their home.
Theater Young Community Center. Yeah.
Yeah. So because of this current environment, everything is via Zoom. So yeah, maybe we won't be able to do as much outreach that would take up, as much time. So let's do that. Do you guys want to do an hour or 90 minutes?
Well, I'm just going to make this statement. I think if we kind of stay, like Antoinette said, to the bullet points, that, there's been a lot of talking right at this time, and it's 7:57, and really most of the committee members haven't said a lot. I know I've talked because I put myself in there, but if we hit the bullet points and then take a bulk of the meeting for community concerns, I think even if you went for an hour and 15 minutes, I think that's okay. If we had to go an hour for whatever reason, but whatever our agenda is going to be, let's hit it like Robert's Rules of Order, and then get to that point where now let's talk about what the community needs. and allot
Okay.
time for that.
Okay, so we'll shoot for 1 hour, 7:30 to 8:30. And we have the dates. Perfect. So let's adopt these minutes. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Awesome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Who seconded?
Who was it that seconded?
It was Antoinette? All right, thanks.
Anyone opposed? No? Okay, motion carries. And those minutes are adopted. I will say, listening to that and looking at all those concerns was a very different time back in February than it is now. So next we have district and building communications. So we've received lots of communications over the past few months, at least, definitely with COVID. A lot of those communications, I feel like I get good communications. I feel like the board has actually put out some communications, which I don't feel like we did so much previously, which I did appreciate. What do you guys feel about district and building communications?
I have really appreciated the most recent board communications. I think they've been well written and informative. So thank you for those.
Thank you.
Tracy, I have
Yes.
Pat Weems on the phone because she couldn't log in. She wants to know what are the building communications, like she wants to know what you're talking about. So can you
Sure.
say if she can hear you?
Sure. So building communications are things that I would get as a parent from my principal. They're usually pretty specific to parent information because it's specifically for that building. So, you know, Leah Jackson, Highview, they may send out information. You know, I have 2 different buildings that I get communication from, but I don't know how Highview and RJ Bailey is. So I really need to hear from the community, ECP. You know, to know, are you guys sufficient? I know in the past we've talked about the fact that some, there were different modalities of communication, right? Some people in the past used to use email, used to use Remind app. There was another one that people were using to communicate with.
She has it. She got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So that has come up in the, oh, okay. All right, Samantha, we'll see you next time. That has come up in the past that there, you know, was some, I guess, desire to streamline. Maybe it was too much communication at times. Maybe it wasn't enough at other times. So that's why that's on the agenda. Do we want to, you know, look at that? We're now the CEC and Communications Committee. So I don't want to leave out communication from the district as a whole, as well as the individual buildings, and get any feedback from you guys.
One of the things I wanted to share is I think Laser might still be on here. I know that I had asked because I felt like the part that was missing, that we are communicating with parents, right? And I think, you know, staff, of course. I kept thinking, how do we get information to the rest of our community? They may not have children in the district, but they are concerned about, you know, what's happening. I think it's important. So I remembered, or I think Laser brought up about the town, have they had this subscribers list? So I asked I asked Laser, could he take a look and see how much that costs? It costs a lot of money, so that kind of put the kibosh on it. I don't know if anybody may know of something else that might be less costly, but we were trying to figure out, was there something that we can do electronically that not only went to parents and families, but went to the taxpayers in our, you know, school districts, so that they all also know what's happening in our school district. I know where I live, and this is like in the good old days back in May before COVID, a community member was asking me, like near a neighbor, what was going on in the district. And when I told her a few things, had no idea at all. And so I always think about people who are going to come out and vote on our budget. How do we get the information for those who just, you know, they don't have children and they're not currently engaged at that level? But that subscriber list was pretty expensive. I don't know if Laser still is on. I thought it was like around $8,000, $9,000 just to be able to get a list going like that.
I mean, short of a list, I mean, of course, you have Finer's Facebook page. I don't know how many friends he has or subscribers, but you can post on there at any time.
Right.
You know, maybe say, you you have a meeting coming up. Post a meeting's coming up. Please join us, all Greenburgh family and friends.
I mean, didn't you just use that list that Jocelyn's referencing for the superintendent search survey?
No, me. Who's no, I'm sorry, not me. You're not talking to me. Sorry.
No, the list you're referencing, Jocelyn. I thought the board just used Finer's list and distributed the superintendent search survey.
Did we use that list, Antoinette?
That was used to do it. I think for what we were thinking about, if we were going to use something like every time we shot something out, I guess I wonder, would that be allowable if we had a weekly something, like if we use it more often than a one-off here and there?
I think it's open to all Greenburgh, all Greenburgh folks. You could just go on and post at any time. It would just have to be a regular cadence, right? So if you want to do it weekly or whenever right before meetings to invite folks to come in, I don't think it's at all locked out to anyone. I see people posting everywhere.
Subscriber list.
It's the Facebook, his Facebook communication page.
Yeah, that I'm pretty sure. I guess I was wondering, Chris, about like that email list. Would we be able to
out?
That's where I got the e-list went out with the superintendent search survey. As far as using that regularly, I don't know if there should be a line drawn between, because the school district and the town are two separate entities, and I don't know how comfortable the board would feel or the public having that merged often. So
we don't want to. I don't want. I'm only one person on this board, but this committee. But I don't want to use his list every month, on a schedule. Once in a while to help us get certain important information out is one thing. But David has.
So why don't you build your own list?
Yeah, so we could build our own list. We would need everyone to help. So that's kind of leading into the next bullet point as well. How do we continue community outreach given the COVID-19 effect, right? I see, Liz's hand up. You got to unmute yourself, Liz. So that is going to be a question.
Well, I know at least as far as at the library, we're really starting to concentrate on our outreach efforts in a much more systematic way. And one of the projects that I've been working on, and I'm going to be having an intern help with this as well, is building a community contact list. So, sorry, it's late. I need some caffeine. So that would be something that we can kind of, even if we had like a shared document or something, and if people wanted to say send information to me or we could compile it and get it all together so we can kind of pull resources, and because I'm sure you guys know tons of people I would never even think of contacting or organizations, and we could kind of work on that together. I don't know if that'd be something that would be helpful.
So you want to take the 200 people on the CEC email list and throw that into the hopper? You want to take the stuff from the for the various civic associations, throw that into the hopper? That's email side. You want, as opposed to something people come to.
So I'm seeing all this stuff in the chat, but I'm wondering, like, you guys are here, just talk, because I don't want to misrepresent anyone. And I saw the Galaxy Note had a hand up, so I don't want to stop anyone.
Who is Galaxy Note 8?
I don't know. Yeah, we cannot hear you, Laser.
Laser, we can't hear you.
So Galaxy Note is good. So I'll just read, I guess, the questions in here. So,
Laser has to log back out and log
okay.
back.
Amy asked, do we have a list from passing the school bond? I don't know what list that would be.
I don't know.
Maybe your voters list. Is that, maybe that's what she's talking about, the budget,
The
you know?
frequent voters list?
Yeah, like when you do budget votes, doesn't that?
Those
doesn't
are
mail go-
addresses.
Yeah, how would
Those
we
are snail
email?
mail addresses.
Well, could you send out a snail mail address to certain people stating that we're looking to get your emails to do future communication? And if they want to, they can email a certain place and give you their information?
I like that idea. It's only that, like,
Get about 5% response.
No, that's just Pat on the phone. Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. I was gonna say I like that idea, but I don't know if you saw the Board of Ed meeting where I had to fight for these printed calendars, right? The point being, it's expensive the more we mail things out. So I don't know if,
But aren't we saving money in different areas like transportation? I mean, aren't there areas where we're saving money? I mean, there's constant transfers going on all the time. So like we have to start investing in certain things so we can move forward as a district. That's just my opinion.
okay.
And one of the biggest criticism has always been communication and reaching out. I mean, I do think that this is an important topic, especially if we have any hope of, improving our school buildings in the future, where we
Right.
have very old school buildings, right? So I do think I agree with you that we have to start investing in how do we reach out, how do we retain, how do we keep people informed? Because that has always perennially been one of the biggest criticisms.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you're in agreement
Laser, we
with,
can hear you.
it sounds like you're in agreement with, Amy, that you were in agreement with Ms. Washington's suggestion that we suggest to the board that we spend a little bit of money and invest in putting out a mailing, pretty much directing people to send us their email addresses. I don't know if we want to create a spot on the website where people can type
There is
in.
one.
Sorry.
There is one. If you go under the communications tab on the website, there's a place to do email sign up. You could just send out a small postcard to everyone. If you want to, have the district send you communications, go to the communications tab, email sign up. Sorry, I'm clicking. It's three fields they need to fill in: name, email address, and are you a parent or community member? That's it. So I don't know how much sending out postcards would be one time, but.
And then as the committee, we can also get the message out to tell people, like Amy said, let's get the mail out. Like Chris said, let's do postcards. And then our job as committee is to also text people and, word of mouth and let people know that what we're trying to do for Greenburgh.
Well, let me ask you another question. The traditional print newsletter, we were legally required to do that for budget season. Is there also a print newsletter still required for the fall? And if so, could we put something into that? And then it's one mailing that goes to every household? Antoinette,
That's a good idea. That's a great idea.
I think that's a good idea.
I'm not sure if is there a legal fall one, and
is there going to be a fall one?
Yes, there is going to be a fall one, but I don't think it's going to be mailed. I think it's going to be digital. I could be wrong, but I believe it's going to be digital.
And will the spring one be mailed? So I thought we were required to hit every household for the budget.
We should.
I believe that one is mailed because it's budget.
Okay, so fall.
So it sounds like the committee as a whole wants to make a recommendation, maybe to inquire with Ivy what the cost would be. And then once we have the cost, then if we all agree, then maybe we make a recommendation to the full board to outreach the community with a small postcard, a one-time postcard mailing.
Yeah, I will do a good job with, like, she'll be able to say, like, doing this, this is how much it will cost. I think we need to hear what the cost would be.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay, I see Sarah and Chris.
Thanks. So I agree. I think David had a great idea with possibly combining it with something else. If there is such a thing we can combine it with, it would be like an easy add-on. And my other thought is there someplace more or that's easier that we can put it on the website? Like, can it be on the homepage? Because yeah, I couldn't find it just now. So if it's too hard to find, no one else is going to find it either.
That's right.
Laser.
That's a
everything on the
point.
homepage.
Great point.
His picture's here.
So I was trying to say earlier, I don't know if you want me to say the price, Antoinette, of
yeah,
the.
Go ahead, tell the price.
So the Civic Plus it's an 8,000 implementation fee and $2,000 a year to upkeep. I liked it because it's the same thing the town uses. Most of the town is familiar with it, so it won't be that much of a learning curve, and also it's easy for people to sign up and unsubscribe if they wanted to, as opposed to the ones we do on the website. We physically manually, like someone has to manually take the information then add it manually, as opposed to it being automatic with Civic Plus. That's the only difference with what we maintain and what this system does.
Interesting. Do you remember how they said we would collect the emails? Is it that people push in, they go and say, hey, let me.
Yeah, they sign up and it's automatically entered. So when you send a blast out, it's just if you sign up at 12 o'clock and you send a blast at 2 o'clock, their email is in there. If I unsubscribe at 1 o'clock, it removes me and I don't get that message anymore. So the current way we have it is when I usually do most of my work at night. So if you send me an email to remove you, I won't get it done till after 6 or 7.
Is that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but is that school messenger or is that the email sign up on the website?
That's the email sign up on the website. That's something separate. So
No,
school messenger is separate. That's just for parents. So that was just a list, a Google group that I created of community members.
So how can we get community members into school messenger, or do they have to be in the database and that's where you're pulling email?
It can, because school messenger is just for one thing, which is parents. It's a separate system because it pulls from our student information system. That's how that's maintained.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought.
So in reference to what Laser just said, it sounded like $8,000. I mean, the committee members could say that doesn't sound like a lot of money. And if we all look at our different board agendas, we've seen money go left, right, all over the place for different things. So if we're making an investment, $8,000 one time, and then to maintain it's $2,000, that could just become a budgetary item. I think it's a good idea. And
the program is called Civic Plus?
Civic Plus, yes, it's the same.
Right. Keep going, I'm sorry.
You have to have the tools for the manpower. So, you have your technology department, but Laser and Diego and everybody else, they need help. They can't just do like plugging in an email here and there. That's a lot of work.
I see Chris's hand.
I'm just curious. The goal is to get more non-school family people involved and communicated with, correct? I'm curious how many non-school people are currently on our communications. Do we have any idea? So we can evaluate later if we do this, how many more were added? I mean, if you want a metric of effectiveness.
Give me a few, I could pull it up.
So I can imagine if there's no controversial issue going on, that people might not bother signing up. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying if we're going to do it, I think there should be some measure of how we've progressed.
How often we're going to use it, right? So money is a big thing for our non-immediate school family, right?
I don't think we ever had an official community program per se. Like school messengers, it's huge. That's what it's used for students and parents. I don't think we ever had an official, for the community side.
But don't we have like non-community? Sorry, don't we have non-school families on the phone blast list?
No.
No.
So is it maybe emergency contact you used to get phone blasts?
Yeah, if you have your sibling or an uncle or something that's, yeah, they would get the message because they're in the e-school system.
Okay, because their name is in there. But what I was gonna say is that money is, I think, important to the non-immediate family, right? So if we're talking about a bond or buildings, the facilities and now fiscal, that's a joint committee. Maybe some things coming out of that committee, they might want to update, but how would we, I think that's a good point, Chris. How often would we utilize that?
Well, maybe that's where the partnership with
blast.
Liz
How
and
big is the list now?
we could start with that.
Well, I think because we don't know, we never tried. How do we know?
Yeah.
You don't know how interested community members would be in knowing about our new pandemic policies or our new the way we're learning in our hybrid world. We don't know what they might want to know, how our buildings, the facilities are doing, because we've never. Oh, Pat's on the phone. Pat, stop talking. So anyway, basically, we don't know because we've never tried. So if this is a goal for the committee, that'd be maybe one goal from here, this committee, to really outreach to the non-school
And here's
community.
the thought. I mean, it's not just going to be used for, let's say, CEC, right? This should be something that we have multiple committees that, for example, the physical, the buildings committee,
Facilities and fiscal.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and the governance. I mean, I think we could build a list where all these committees could blast out things when they're ready, when they need to. Budget time. That's going to be a big time. We should be blasting out. Like, we're going to have 3 different versions, 3 different iterations of a budget, right? After different people contributed. So I guess I see a broader use for this, and it's going to be spread out over multiple committees. So I think it should be, but we have to centralize it. I feel like every year we're trying to reinvent the wheel. Conceivably, we have a list that we reached out for bond passing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I remember getting emails. Where is that list? Maybe we could build from that. Things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, because I do remember getting emails from that. But Antoinette, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I agree with Amy, especially if we are going to ever make any improvements to our buildings that will need a bond. We have to be able to be sharing information all year long, so that anybody who's in our community, they know what's happening. Because that was a lot of things that people said, like, hey, the bond came on, they didn't know about this, they didn't know about that. But if they're receiving communications about the district in general, which will include the things that we need, the things that we're doing well, maybe that may paint a better picture for people to understand, not only what the district needs as far as repair, but what are the things that are happening too.
Can I just add that we only have 10 more minutes left to our meeting. So I do want to wrap up this particular topic so we can get to questions, concerns, comments, because there may be other topics people do want to bring up and talk about. So I did hear that we're going to find out from Ivy how much to mail the postcards, to direct people to our website to kind of sign in or opt in to getting emails. We should be moving that link or that button somewhere more prominent. And again, Dr. Chase, we're going to send this information to her. Maybe she has some ideas as well to add to this, but I like the homepage as the suggestion. And how do we feel about this this $8,000 to begin and then $2,000 upkeep? It sounds like most of us kind of like this idea, right?
I like it. I think it's a good because I think we have one system that works and we don't have anything for the community side.
We would take those inputted emails from the the link and put it into the system, and then it would send out blasts, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't have to do anything. It takes care of itself. So if you want to sign up, you just do it. If you want to unsubscribe, you just do that also. So it just kind of maintains itself.
Okay, so are we going to make that recommendation to the board, guys? Do we need a motion for that?
I move that we go with the Civic, what is it called, Mr. Warner?
Civic Plus.
The Civic Plus. That's it? I move that we make a recommendation to the Greenburgh Board of Education to purchase Civic Plus to reach the community that might not be parents or guardians in the school district.
Okay, thank you. And anyone second it?
I second.
Okay, so it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion? Okay, motion carries. So I can only ask, I guess, Laser, if you could get us some documentation so that we can show to the board so they can know exactly what they would be involved in purchasing.
Oh, I'll forward it right now.
Okay.
And in the meantime, do we want to feed our existing list into the existing system?
That's a question for Laser or for us as a whole?
For us as a whole, so we can decide if we want to do it.
Laser would have to tell us, right? Laser?
Yeah, David, I would think you need to email everyone to get the permission to have them entered into the system.
Right.
All right. So do we want to execute that process?
Well, you could probably email.
Send an email to everybody and say, if you want to be on this, go here.
Yeah.
All right, that's easy.
Tracy, am I sending you the email or Antoinette?
I think it would send all three of us. Oh, okay, send it to me. It's fine.
And Laser, I think the only thing I would really request is that any investment we make, have it be continuous, have continuity. I mean, I think we sometimes try new things, but then it's cast aside. I mean, if we could have something that could go from year to year and allow continuity, I think that is going to be worth our investment.
Yeah, continuity is good. So definitely, and I'm sure you took great notes, David, but I think we need to stress to the rest of the board that all the committees can utilize it when needed to get the word out, because that'll be important. Yes, Liz?
I would just say as well, something that might be important to mention is if it is going to be used by multiple committees, then I think that it needs to be it would be helpful, I think, for people that, don't want to get inundated with emails. That's when they unsubscribe, right? So it would be like a concentrated effort, like, I don't know, like every month or whatever is the XYZ newsletter, and each committee could have reports. And then if there's something super special coming up, you could do a blast.
Or even if it's in the format of coming from you, Antoinette, as the board president, like a board communication. And that would include any committee updates or whatever for that month. Any committee
centralize it, right? So not this committee sent it out on Monday, then the next week they got another one, and
Yeah, most centers do that. They usually have like a Tuesday deadline. Hey, get everything to us by Tuesday, so Thursday we get everything out.
Like a digest once a month. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you for bringing that up. That makes sense. Otherwise,
thank you, Liz.
People will go insane. Like, you guys got to stop sending.
Okay, great. So it looks like we have wrapped up that topic, and now we are on the final agenda item, which is questions, concerns, etc. I see Chris's hand up.
Sorry. Okay, so in keeping with the theme, these are kind of communications things. You mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, and you pulled out your paper calendar that was not mailed out. I understand the theory for not posting it online, but like I asked at one of the recent board meetings, I had no idea when the marking periods were. That information has been posted. Could we at least put that online, because no one has any reference to any dates that might not get moved, like the testing dates, etc. It's, even though we know things will change, it'd be great if it were online.
Laser, can we do that? Can we get the actual calendar online?
Yeah, I can post it.
Last year's is there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Every year it's posted online. It's just, you guys, someone chose
Every
not.
year the hard copy is online.
All right, let's post it.
Okay, so
Well,
that's that. The
wait,
second thing
we
was,
have to recommend a recommendation to somebody else. Wait a minute. Well, are we good? I think it's a good idea. I don't know what everybody else.
I think it's a great idea.
I think Ivy held back on it because she said, oh my God, so many dates have changed. But I think there's information there that we still need.
because
Yeah,
even if I
maybe-
tried to go to January to see when the Highview orientation was going to be that you referenced earlier, nothing is posted past November, I think, even online for things like your board meetings aren't even on the online calendar. So, and we know those aren't going to change.
And we know those were set in July.
Exactly. So do you need a motion? Okay.
So moved.
I think I see Jocelyn's hand up. Was that on purpose, Jocelyn?
It wasn't done. I wasn't
Oh,
done.
Yes.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, hold on. Chris is still going. Sorry.
Two really quick things. And then Antoinette, thank you for the emails that have been going out. I would appreciate if, because you guys are trying to see who wants to be involved in committees, nothing has been sent out. If no one's been watching the board meetings, they might not have known that this meeting was happening, or if they don't check the calendar every day. They might not know to join the Facilities and Fiscal Planning Committee if they were interested. So at least one email saying when the next committee meetings are going to be, in case people who didn't hear about it the first time might be interested in joining. I think that could be something you think about. And the last thing I want to bring up, is just food for thought. When we return from winter break in January, I think we should start thinking about, this is probably not going to be popular, but being full remote for 2 weeks until like after Martin Luther King, or is that 2 weeks
I agree.
afterwards?
So
because we don't know who's going to be seeing people from other places, and just to be safe, you guys should start talking about with whatever committee or amongst the board, whether to be full remote for 2 weeks in January after the holiday break.
So,
you're saying when
yeah.
we come, like, instead of
All
coming
right,
back,
it's like a 2 week.
So yeah, hiatus. So
So
one of
that
the
if
things,
people have been intermixing, that we
Yeah, that's so smart.
one of the things many educators actually have been having this conversation. I did ask the superintendent if our administration had that conversation. At the time they hadn't, and that was 2 weeks ago. Actually, not in January. I was asking about after Thanksgiving, because some people, I know a lot of the colleges are not welcoming children back, or students, because they're adult by then, but their students back after Thanksgiving, actually, because there are multiple, the religious holidays, there's cultural holidays that are happening between kind of November and January, all throughout the month of December, the New Year's. So keeping right in line with what you're saying, maybe not coming back to after Martin Luther King Day, but I actually asked about Thanksgiving, and Dr. Chase's reply was that actually some colleagues are discussing that. I did hear today at work from a PTA president in a different district up in a little bit further north that possibly the governor is considering some of that stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I know Antoinette's in education. I don't know if anyone else on the call here has heard any type of discussion like that, but that is a great idea, Chris.
I heard from a teacher in Irvington that three districts have actually made the decision: Larchmont, Bedford Hills, and I don't know that she doesn't remember the third one.
So they've made the decision already.
Started. They've made the decision already to start after Martin Luther King Day. So just so we can start that conversation.
Thank you.
Other thing that I would add to it, and I don't know if we're going to make that decision or not, at least could we provide families and suggestions and tips and about these holidays. Like, I know I saw on Eyewitness News today that if you are going to have a large or have a gathering, don't let it be large. People still wear masks. One person serves everyone. Use disposable plates. Like, so there were things that people could think about doing to help kind of keep it down. So I wish we could do some sort of communications like that to give people, if they are gonna have
And then
gatherings.
Como even sent out today a note just warning about small gatherings, because people are becoming more comfortable with small gatherings, but they're not their family pod. So there's no easy answer. I just think the conversation needs to start so people can plan if you make a decision.
Planning is important, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
The calendar's up. Do we want to add a note next to it or something like that? A little blurb?
Like saying something about things might change because we're in a pandemic. Like
dates are subject to change.
Something like that.
Yes, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, dates are subject to change.
And to please check the calendar daily for updates or something like that.
Please check the online calendar.
Yes.
For more, for most updated information. That's true. I'm sorry, Jocelyn had her hand up and our time is kind of out. So we're just kind of going to try to wrap it up a little bit.
Just a quick question or a quick thought. Is it true that non-instructional personnel were sent to other schools after Woodlands was put on a 14-day quarantine?
I don't know. So
that would make sense. I haven't heard anything about that.
You think it makes sense? That's what bothered me. If you're shutting the school down because someone had COVID-19, right? And we're doing a 14-day quarantine, all people from Woodlands should be on a quarantine, whether they're instructional, whether they're teachers or not. They should not be out in the public.
So you're saying non-instructional personnel?
Correct. Not the teachers. I understand the teachers were fine. They continue, or they are now doing the remote learning. But I understand that the non-instructional personnel were sent to the other schools, such as Jackson and Highview, Bailey. And so why weren't they quarantined?
That's the question.
That's the question. We need to verify it happened first.
Yeah, hallelujah.
But
okay,
follow that up. Okay.
So you're writing that down, David. Okay.
And I want to go, I'm glad, and I piggyback off of Jocelyn and Ms. Spells. I just also want to bring up COVID-19 because my family was affected by it. My husband is at the high school, and the one thing I would like you to go to the board, we should have a pandemic policy where there should be no in-person meetings for anyone. So, you know, they're having PLC in-person meetings. Yes, they are 6 feet apart, but because of that in-person meeting 2 Mondays ago, me and my husband had, you know, we decided to go take a COVID test to make sure we're not affecting any of our other family members. So my school, there's no in-person meetings. Everything is Zoom or Google Meet. So that should definitely not happen. And I know in September, the custodial staff had an in-person meeting and there was a suspected person who thought they had COVID in September. So as a district, we have to stop those in-person meetings altogether. And then I just wanted to know also if you can find out about the Legionnaires. Is it in the water? Is it still at Bailey? Is it still at Woodlands High School? I'm also hearing that those $3,000 like temperature, like, you know, how you go up, you don't touch it. I'm hearing that none of them are working in the district, that some places at Bailey, there was like 30 something hand sanitizers that broke out, you know. So I'm just wondering, is this happening throughout the district? There was no hot water for a certain amount of time. So if you can just kind of look at that and make sure we're in a pandemic, like all PPE, all hot water, our staff and students should have everything. So please just, if you can look, the thermometers being broken, hand sanitizers working, making sure all schools have hot water. There are no in-person meetings anymore. We are in a pandemic and we have to protect our students and our staff. And I know we want to, but we have to monitor it. So as much as we want to do it, we have to monitor it. And my last question, I'm getting out of here. Is it true that the district is a CINI school district, school in need of improvement? If you can find out that information. Thank you.
Okay. That was a lot. You got that all down, David?
I don't think we're a school in need of improvement.
I think I asked about that.
I think we asked about that. And then the question is, how often did we ask? When was it the last time we checked? Kiosks, hot water, hand sanitizers, we got to find out about. The hand sanitizers, I knew it was an issue at one point before school opened. The batteries ran down on the dispenser, and so you put your hand under it, nothing would come out because the sensor wasn't working. But I think we fixed it, so we got to go see if that's an ongoing thing, if the batteries run down.
And remember how we have those Fridays where there's SEL, so the students are in the building. Are we using those Fridays to deep clean the buildings?
I think Fridays are full remote.
Right, for the students, right? But
right,
are we using that time to do a deep clean of the building? So that means no one's in the buildings and the custodial staff are cleaning. So then the next cohort could come in the next week. That's another question, if you can find out.
I think we like the idea of having 3 days between one cohort being there and the next cohort coming in. We do the cleaning, but also the passage of time. The COVID-19 can't survive with nobody around for very long. So having that 3-day break was considered a plus.
No, I don't have a problem with the 3-day break. I want to know if the deep cleaning is happening on Friday. I know Saturday and Sunday you have to pay overtime. So is the deep cleaning happening on Fridays? That's my question.
Okay.
Are you saying on Friday nights? Because on Fridays we are in the buildings, the teachers and the staff are in the buildings.
So then that means it's not happening during Friday.
Correct.
Okay, so
right, you're just reducing the number of people in the building.
So I guess knowing that we have 2 cases of COVID-19 in our district, we should maybe use that Friday. The teachers, I don't know, they have their meetings, and maybe their meetings, they don't have to be in the building, but we can use those days to do a deep cleaning. That's a suggestion, but you can find out, what's happening. I just think we need to be a little bit more proactive, because where we are right now,
I don't know what deep cleaning means in terms of what are we not doing on a nightly basis, right? So what are the additional procedures? Right. We need to know more technical detail to figure that out.
So, right. So if you have people in the building all day, right, then how much time do you have and how much staff do you have in those buildings to really clean? So I guess those are some things you have to find out, because is it better to have, you could take all the custodial staff, I'm making this up, and put them in one building from 8 to 10. Then they go to the next building from 10 to 12. I'm just making up a scenario, but they're, it's something
because then they can spread. Right.
Just to clean, right. But it's an option.
Right. Okay.
Okay, guys, so we just lost Amy. So thank you. We'll see you next meeting. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns? Because we're just only 10 minutes over, which is good, I think.
I have to ask, can I ask one more question? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Jocelyn, could you repeat that part again? You said it was cleaners that they were exposed to a person at the middle high school. They too were exposed to them.
You're asking me a question? No, I was trying to verify. I heard, is it true when we went into quarantine to do all remote learning, that non-instructional staff, instead of them going into quarantine with everyone else from Woodlands, they were actually sent to work at the other buildings.
All right. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were saying. Okay.
Yeah.
They went to other buildings.
They actually physically went to work instead of them going into quarantine. All Woodlands personnel should have gone into quarantine. My understanding is the non-instructional were sent into the other buildings to work. As of Friday, we were out. On that Monday, they were in another building.
Okay.
I have to see if that's true.
Yes, yeah, I believe I heard that is what is true.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, comments? No? Okay, David, you took good notes. The beginning of the meeting, if you weren't here, or did you take, I know you did because you were.
Go ahead.
At the beginning of the meeting when we weren't, when everyone wasn't here, we did talk about rotating the person who's going to take notes for each meeting. So please think about volunteering for next meeting so that we could have a scriber. Does anybody want to volunteer now? Again, the next meeting, if you need a reminder, is January 11th from 7:30 to 8:30. So is anyone willing to take notes? Liz, hands up.
Great.
Hey, Liz.
Wonderful. Your idea worked. Great. So we got Liz. We'll take notes next time. And if there's no other questions or comments, we can adjourn the meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Second.
Awesome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Meeting's
Thank
adjourned.
you guys
It's
for
now
a great
8:41.
meeting.
Thank you. Very good meeting. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. All right, let's see. All right. Thank you, Steve. All right, I'm ending it, Steve. All right, bye, David. Thank you. I was saying, so I'm gonna hit end, right? All right. Good night, everybody.